Good day and welcome to another interesting, interactive and informative lesson taught to you from the comfort of your home via TTT. I am Shalini Sinanan and this morning we'll be practicing English language arts. But first let me remind you that all of our lessons can be found at learn.moe.gov.tt for all your needs, whether it's ECCE, primary or secondary. So what are we doing today? We're looking at section 1 of the language arts paper. Let's just do an overview of what section 1 looks like. Remember, there are 3 tasks to perform in this section, and each section has a certain number of marks that you want to get total for. At the end of the session, it's 30 marks. You want to get all 30 marks. The first task, spelling. The second, punctuation and capitalization. The third, grammar. So let's look at task number 1, spelling. Remember, your instructions are very important. They tell you what you need to do and exactly what you have to write. In the spelling section, you know there's one incorrectly spelled word in each line. And you have to draw a circle around the incorrectly spelled word and then write the correct spelling in the box provided next to that line. So remember those instructions carefully. Circle the word in the line that is incorrectly spelled, and then we write the correct spelling in the box. 2 instructions that you must do. So let's read our passage. It was actually unbelievable. He was witnessing the West Indies team on the brink of victory. He started strutting in front of the television, swinging an imaginary bat. Throughout the neighborhood, people were exuberant. The rhythmic drumming of the musicians increased in anticipation of success. Let's read it again. You read while I'm reading. It was actually unbelievable. He was witnessing the West Indies team on the brink of victory. He started strutting in front of the television, swinging an imaginary bat. Throughout the neighborhood, people were exuberant. The rhythmic drumming of the musicians increased in anticipation of success. So remember, we are going through line by line to figure out which word was spelled wrong, circle the incorrectly spelled word, and write the correct spelling in the boxes provided. So let's go to the first line. It was actually unbelievable. He was witnessing. Remember, if you don't spot the incorrectly spelled word right away, we can use the process of elimination. Most of the words in the sentence you would know already, and you would know which words were spelled correctly. So we will go through. It was actually unbelievable. He was witnessing. So already you know simple words like it was, he was, those words are spelled correctly. All right, so we look at each word and find the ones that you know. So what are the words that you know? We said already, it was, he was. Let's examine the remaining words. Actually. Phonetically, it looks correct. Looking at it, A-C-T-U-A-L-L-Y, that's correct. So you know that word. What about witnessing? Yeah, that is correct as well. W-I-T-N-E-S-S-I-N-G. So which word is left? Unbelievable. So we have the word unbelievable. We know the root word believe, and a prefix and a suffix was added to the word believe, un and able. But what's the rule in forming the new word when we add the prefix and suffix? Have you figured it out? We circle the word unbelievable. Make sure and circle your word. If you don't circle that word, you'll lose a point. So, what's the rule? Did you figure out that rule? Yes. When adding A-B-L-E, we drop the E at the end of the word and then add the suffix A-B-L-E. So, in the word believe, right? In order to form the word believable, we drop the E and add A-B-L-E. So the word becomes B-L-I-E, A-B-L-E. And of course, the prefix on was added. as well. So we have the word unbelievable in the paragraph. The E was left in the word before A, and you figured it out very well by figuring out that that word was spelled wrong. And so we know that we have to circle unbelievable and write the correct spelling. And sometimes it's not easy to see, but we know that you're good at sleuthing. So you'll be able to figure out those words once you take your time. The thing with this spelling is you must be careful. Go through each line with a fine-tooth comb. So let's look at the second line. We're going good so far. The West Indies team on the brink of victory. The West Indies team on the brink of victory. Which word is spelled incorrectly? Have you figured it out already? I have some really smart children looking on, you know. The West Indies team. Clearly that's correct. On the brink of victory, he. You seeing a word that looks a bit awry, doesn't look like what you think it should be. Yes? Victory. So you circle the word victory in the line. Make sure and circle the word. And what do we know about the rule? This is a frequently misspelled word. So we must find a way to help us remember how to spell the word victory, which is not E-R-Y or E-R-Y, but rather O-R-Y, right? In these words, the weak vowel sound before Y is spelled with the letters O-R. So we make the word ending O-R-Y instead. So let's look at some examples which would rhyme with victory. Victory is V-I-C-T-O-R-Y. The word history, H-I-S-T-O-R-Y. Factory, F-A-C-T-O-R-Y. And we have our word victory, V-I-C-T-O-R-Y. Can you think of a word at home that ends in O-R-Y? Write it down together with these words and remember how to spell victory for our spelling bee at the end. So we're doing very well. Let's go to the next line. Started strutting in front of the television, swinging. Sometimes you can distinguish the incorrectly spelled word right away. And in some cases, you don't. Remember what we said to do. Look through each word and use the process of elimination. Started strutting in front of the television, swinging. Have you figured out the word that's spelled wrong? Yes. Yeah? You figured out that the word strutting was spelled wrong, and you probably know already how to spell the word strutting. Yes. What's the rule when forming the present participle with words that end with a consonant that's preceded by a short vowel sound? Yes. You must know the rule. We double the last letter before adding the suffix all the time when we form the past tense and when we form the participle as well. So the word strutted, how do we spell the word strutted? You spell it aloud at home right now. Yes, it's S-T-R-U-T-T-E-D. We double the last letter before we add the suffix, whether it's ed or we're forming the participle with ing. And you have it correct. You were correct from the very beginning. Let's look at these examples. Strip would be stripped or stripping, S-T-R-I-P-P-E-D, S-T-R-I-P-P-I-N-G. Begin, and this is one sometimes gives us trouble. B-E-G-I-N-N-I-N-G. Travel, another one that gives us trouble at times. T-R-A-V-E-L-L-I-N-G, T-R-A-V-E-L-L-E-D, and traveler, T-R-A-V-L-L-E-R. We aren't much of a traveler right now, are we? So we're going well. Let's see what number 4 is. An imaginary bat throughout the neighborhood. Are you seeing the word that is misspelled in that line? Look at it carefully. Look at all the words. An imaginary bat throughout the neighborhood. Which word is spelled incorrectly? Yes, imaginary. What's the correct spelling? What is the root word? And this is what we have to look for when we are looking at our words. We look at what is the root word, what was added to the word, and if the correct suffix or prefix was added to the word in the right manner. And the rules are there for you to know. You have to learn those rules. You can't just imagine what they might be. So we're looking at the word imaginary. What's the rule? Some words add the suffix ary to form nouns or adjectives. Some words add the suffix ary to form nouns or adjectives. Can you think of more words besides imaginary? So we have imagine, the root word, and we are adding ary, and in order to form the new word, we take off the e and then we add ary. So the word becomes imaginary. If you knew that already, then you're absolutely correct. Remember, you have to picture the word if you're not sure about the spelling. Remember it, put it in your mind's eye, and spell it in your mind so that you would remember it, because some of these words you have to remember by heart. Let's look at some other examples. You pick out the word that's spelled correctly there. We have dictionary, but with ending ERY, ARY, and ORY. Yes, it's the one in the middle. Dictionary. Necessary. We have with ending ORY, ERY, ARY. Yes, it's the last one. Necessary. Ordinary. Definitely the first one with ARY. So dictionary, DICTIONARY. Necessary, NECESSARY. Ordinary, ORDINARY. So going back to our passage now, remember to circle the word that is misspelled. We have imaginary with ERY, but we want the correct spelling in the box, so we write IMAGINARY. Let's look at the next sentence. People were exuberant, the rhythmic drumming of. People were exuberant, the rhythmic drumming of. And remember, when you're reading, your pronunciation is important as well. That would help you figure out whether it's an E or an A or an I you're looking at in the word, right? So remember to read it well. People were exuberant, the rhythmic drumming of. Which word is spelled incorrectly? Exuberant. And you would know this by looking at the ending of the word. You know that it's spelled incorrectly. What's the rule? So this is a frequently misspelled word. And remember, we spoke to you about this already. There is a list of frequently misspelled words. You have to get your hands on that list and ensure that you learn all those words by heart. So visualization helps. A good strategy to remember the word. Exuberant is the correct spelling, EXUBERANT, right? And here's a good way to remember it. X, uber, and ant. All right? So remember, X, uber, and ant. So we have exuberant circled, and we have the correct spelling with A and T at the end. We're on our last line of this spelling task. You're doing really well. The musicians increased in anticipation of success. The musicians increased in anticipation of success. Are you seeing the word that's incorrectly spelled? Look at the line carefully. Which word in that last sentence is incorrect? You want to have all 12 marks. Yes, musicians. Yeah? When forming the noun or job, you have musician, optician. You can think of words with CIAN at the ending to form jobs or occupations. We have music, musician. MUSICIAN. Correct. What about other people? Beautician. BEAUTICIAN. Physician. PHYSICIAN. Magician. MAGICIAN. Optician. OPTICIAN. Electrician, E-L-E-C-T-R-I-C-I-A-N. Politician, P-O-L-I-T-I-C-I-A-N. And technician, T-E-C-H-N-I-C-I-A-N. Look at these words carefully and see how they have the C-I-A-N at the end to form these occupations. So, before we go to our spelling bee, I'd like us to look at the 6 words carefully. Unbelievable. Remember, the ending is A-B-L-E without an E. Victory, the ending is O-R-Y. Strutting has 2 T's. Imaginary ends A-R-Y. Exuberant ends A-N-T. And musicians ends I-A-N-S. Look at them again. Look at them. Let's go to our spelling bee. So we're going to do our spelling bee now. I'm sure you know those words already, but just to make sure, you're going to write them down. Get your piece of paper and pencil ready, and let's go. Number 1. It is unbelievable the way he reacted this morning. Unbelievable. Spell the word unbelievable. The victory our footballers brought home to us made our country very proud. Victory. Spell the word victory. The A she received on her spelling test had her strutting like a peacock all day. Spell strutting. Strutting. The Greenwich Meridian is an imaginary line that separates the eastern and western hemispheres. Imaginary. Spell imaginary. The exuberant atmosphere felt at the party made everyone happy. Spell exuberant. Exuberant. And the last word, the singer was accompanied by a musician that could play all 3 instruments. Musician. Spell the word musician. So check over your words to make sure you have all 6. Unbelievable, victory, strutting, imaginary, exuberant, and musician. Are we ready to correct? You think you have all right? Let's go. So how did you think you did in this test? I'm sure you got most of, if not all correct, or all correct. Let's go. How did we do? Number 1, unbelievable. Check your word. U-N-B-L-I-E-V-A-B-L-E. Victory. V-I-C-T-O-R-Y. Strutting. S-T-R-U-T-T-I-N-G. Imaginary. I-M-A-G-I-N-A-R-Y. Exuberant. Ex-uber-ant. E-X-U-B-E-R-A-N-T. And musician. M-U-S-I-C-I-A-N. All correct? Very good. Congratulations. So we want to move on to task 2. We'll come back after this break and we will move on to task 2. Hope you're ready. So we are moving on to task 2 in our section 1 of our English Language Arts paper, which deals with punctuation and capitalization. First, let's look at the marks that are tested in the SE, that are actually tested. We have our end marks, which include our full stop, our exclamation mark, and question mark, which we use at the end of statements, exclamations, and questions, obviously. Our pause marks, our comma, and our colon, and then our other marks, which include our apostrophe S to show ownership, and our quotation marks to show direct speech, the actual words of the speaker. So in our instructions, we must remember that there's one punctuation capitalization error in every line. We have to insert the missing punctuation or capital letter within the passage. You must insert it with your pencil, meaning you must write it in where it has to be. Whether it's a capital letter, a missing punctuation mark, you write it in the passage. So let's remember some of these helpful hints when doing punctuation capitalization, all right? Remember to read the passage at least twice. Check for overall punctuation, because you might be able to read and see the errors right away whilst you're reading it. Although there's one error per line, you need to read each sentence carefully so you understand what you are reading. Once you understand what you are reading, you'll be able to figure out those missing punctuation capitalization, right? You may find it helpful also to read the sentence before, after, right? We talked about this already. When you read before, after, you get a better understanding of the passage. So let's go to our passage. Caribbean corn soup has special ingredients: vegetables, meat, and coconut milk. Spices and other seasonings are also included to enhance the soup's flavor. Throughout the region, people cook soup with varied levels of heat. Do you prefer a lot of pepper in your soup? My father often says, spicy corn soup is food for the soul. Let's read it again. Caribbean corn soup has special ingredients: vegetables, meat, and coconut milk. Spices and other seasonings are also included to enhance the soup's flavor. Throughout the region, people cook soup with varied levels of heat. Do you prefer a lot of pepper in your soup? My father often says, spicy corn soup is food for the soul. Are you seeing some of the errors there already? I know some of my sleuths have already figured some of the errors out, but let's go through line by line, and remember, we must read the sentences, all right? So let's look at the first line. Caribbean corn soup has special ingredients: vegetables, meat, and coconut milk. So I'm reading on to better understand the sentence. Notice we had to pause after ingredients. Have you figured out what's missing there? Yes. We had to pause after ingredients because afterwards the list of ingredients was given to us, the list of ingredients for the soup: vegetables, meat, and coconut milk. So what was missing? Caribbean corn soup has special ingredients: vegetables, meat, and coconut milk. Something is missing there. We figured that one out already, but what's missing? Is it a full stop? Could it be a full stop? Is the word after starting with a capital letter? Is it an exclamation mark? Are we shouting something out to someone? Is it a comma? Is it separating words in a list? No. Is it a colon, you think? Yes. If we had had ingredients that are, or ingredients such as, so the word such as or that are is replaced with the punctuation mark, the colon, and we did this already. So you would remember that yes, the colon is what was missing. So remember to write it in your passage, the colon where it has to be. Let's remember colons a bit. Colons come at the end of an independent clause. And they silently replace expressions like that is, which is, or which are the following. They give a signal to pay attention to what will follow. So, Caribbean corn soup has special ingredients: vegetables, meat, and coconut milk. So, to show what the ingredients are, we put in our colon. The independence clause is Caribbean corn soup has special ingredients, so we must separate it with a colon. If we had had the word that is there, we didn't need the colon. But we are putting in punctuation marks, so the punctuation mark needed here would be the colon. Caribbean corn soup has special ingredients, colon, vegetables, meat, and coconut milk. Spoiler alert, don't use a colon immediately after phrases like that is, such as, including. Why? You already have that is, you already have such as, you already have including. So putting a colon would mean like you're putting a colon twice, right? You're being redundant. The drawer is full of cutlery, including knives, spoons, and forks. Using a colon here would be the same as including. The drawer is full of cutlery, including knives, spoons, and forks. So we just have the drawer is full of cutlery, colon, knives, spoons, and forks. So the colon kind of replaces the word including. And it's the punctuation mark that we're looking for. Let's practice some more. A spider is not an insect. It is an arachnid. A spider is not an insect. Rather, it is an arachnid. So the colon comes after the independent clause, which ends at insect. My lunch bag has everything I need: a sandwich, a fruit, water, and juice. And remember, how you read will give you an indication of where that colon has to be. My lunch bag has everything I need: a sandwich, a fruit, water, and juice. Do you know where the colon is going? Have you guessed yet? Right after the word need. Yes, my lunch bag has everything I need: a sandwich, a fruit, water, and juice. I bought 3 kinds of ice cream. That is colon, vanilla, coconut, and chocolate. Are you seeing the error? Yeah, we have that is, and then we have a colon. And that's being redundant. That's wrong. You can't have 2 of the same words put together, or two things that have the same meaning together. It doesn't make any sense. So what do? We take off that is, right? Because it's not required. I bought 3 kinds of ice cream: colon, vanilla, coconut, and chocolate. What's your favorite? So we're doing good so far. We figured out the first line was missing a colon. Remember to write it in the passage. Let's continue. Meat and coconut milk. Spices and other seasonings are. Some of you would figure that mistake out right away. Have you figured it out? Look at it carefully. Yes? Meat and coconut milk, full stop, spices and other seasonings are. We have a full stop in the middle of the sentence or the line. What comes after a full stop? Yes, a capital letter. And if you did not do that, you need to revise your rules. So it has to be a capital S for spices. And you put it in the passage where it is needed. So you cross out the common S and you write in your capital S. Let's continue. Also included to enhance the soup's flavor throughout the region. Also included to enhance the soup's flavor throughout. Look at it carefully. See what you think is missing. Look at the sentence. Also included to enhance the flavor of the soup. What's missing? Yes. We have to show ownership by putting in an apostrophe. Yeah? So it shows possession there. We must insert the apostrophe, and where does it go? before the S in soups. So we have the soup's flavor. Be sure to write it in your passage. S-O-U-P apostrophe S, and write it in clearly so it can be seen as an apostrophe. Do not write it in for it to look like a comma. You're not sure what it is. Make sure and use your pencil carefully and write it in carefully. Let's look at the next line. The region, people cook soup with varied levels of heat. Throughout the region, people cook soup with varied levels of heat. I'll read it again. Throughout the region, people cook soup with varied levels of heat. So we have throughout the region, people cook soup with varied levels of heat. What's missing? We had a pause after region. So what's missing? What punctuation mark do you think is missing there? We are pausing to read, right? It's an introductory phrase. We must insert a comma after an introductory phrase. So we put our comma there and we are pausing while we are reading, so we know a comma is missing there, either a pause mark, either a comma or a colon, and you know where the colon is going for sure. So you know this has to be a comma. So you insert your comma and put it in your paragraph. Make sure and put throughout the region, comma, people cook soup with varied levels of heat. Let's look at the next line. Do you prefer a lot of pepper in your soup? My father. Do you prefer a lot of pepper in your soup? Let's go to the passage so you'll see exactly where it is and how it's written. Do you prefer a lot of pepper in your soup? My father often says. Yes, someone is asking a question, but we don't see any question mark. Where do you think the question mark is going? It has to be for the direct speech, the words of the speaker. Does the question mark go after the close quotation or before? Remember, it goes, a question is being asked, it goes before the close quotation. So be sure to put it in. Do you prefer a lot of pepper in your soup? Question mark, close quotation. My father often says, spicy corn soup is food for the soul. My father often says, spicy corn soup is food for the soul. So he is talking. His words of direct speech are enclosed at the end, but they aren't at the beginning. So where does he start to speak? You would have figured out already that we are missing open quotation marks. Where do they go? Yes, my father often says, open quotation, spicy corn soup. Punctuation mark, then open quotation, all right? So we put them in just before the S in spicy, and be sure to put it in appropriately in your passage. Open quotation, spicy corn soup is food for the soul. So you have your punctuation marks and capital letters in each line in the correct position to get all your marks, all right? Congratulations, we've come to the end of task 2, and when we come back, we'll be looking at grammar in task 3. Hi, and welcome back as we continue on with section 1 of your English Language Arts paper, and we continue to prepare you for the SEA 2020 from the comfort of your home with TTT and the Ministry of Education. So let's go to task 3, which is grammar. Remember, in this section, there's one grammatical error in each line. We need to draw a circle around each error and write the correct form in the box provided. So it's similar to task 1 with the spelling, where you have to circle the incorrectly spelled word. Here you have to circle the incorrect grammar and write the correct form in the box provided. Some helpful hints: read the passage at least twice, check for overall verb tense, all right? See how the passage is written, whether it's present tense, it's happening now, it happened already. This would help you in figuring out all the verbs and ensuring that they are correct as well. Although there is one error in the line, you have to read the sentence before and after as well to ensure you read exactly what you're examining. All right, so let's continue. Let's read our passage. Our country is one of the more beautiful countries in the Caribbean, where many different races exist in peace. The diverse people all unite for celebrate various festivals and holidays annual. Tourists are amazed by the spectacular display of colors and creative showcased during the carnival celebrations. Let's read it again. Our country is one of the more beautiful countries in the Caribbean, where many different races exist in peace. The diverse people all unite for celebrate various festivals and holidays annual. Tourists are amazed by the spectacular display of colors and creative showcased during the carnival celebrations. Some of our bright stars have already figured out the grammatical errors in these lines, but let's go through the paces and examine the passage carefully. Our country is one of the more beautiful places in the Caribbean. So we're talking about our country, Trinidad and Tobago, and we're saying that it's one of the more beautiful places in all of the Caribbean. So we're comparing our country with all the other countries in the Caribbean. And from your knowledge of grammar, when we're comparing with adjectives, what words do we use to be absolutely correct? When we have adjectives with 2 or more syllables, we use more or most to compare. More to compare 2 things. Most to compare more than 2. All right? So here we're comparing more than 2 because we're comparing our country with all of the Caribbean and saying that it's one of the, more is used when comparing 2. And we're comparing all of the countries in the Caribbean. So what do we use? Most. Our country is one of the most beautiful countries in the Caribbean because we're not comparing 2, we're comparing 1 with more than 2. When we're using 2, then we can use more. Let's look at some examples that indicates it's comparative. Cheesecake is more or most delicious than Black Forest cake. How? You have to look at the sentence and see carefully how many are we comparing. Are we comparing one with another, or are we comparing one with many? Cheesecake is more or most delicious than Black Forest cake. We're just comparing cheesecake with Black Forest cake. So it will be more delicious. Yeah? I believe that tigers are the more or most dangerous animals. What are we comparing? One with many or one with one? One with many. So we use most. Yes. And then we have George was more or most curious about the noise than me. Who are we comparing? George with a lot of children or George with one person? George with one person. So we use more. Very good. I know you had all these answers. So we know that our country is one of the most beautiful. We circle more and we write most in the box that is provided for us. Remember, you have to do both tasks, otherwise you will not get both points. The Caribbean, where many different races exists. The Caribbean, where many different races exist. We're looking at the second line now. Look at it carefully. Let's look at it in isolation. The Caribbean, where many different races exist. What do you understand that's wrong there? We're talking about many different races, and we have the verb exists. What do we know about singular and plural? Singular nouns have a verb with an S, and plural nouns have a verb that does not have an S. Yes. So it should not be exists. It should be exist, yeah? The subject and verb must agree. So we have a plural subject, many different races. So we should have a verb without an S. All right? So it should be the Caribbean, where many different races exist. Right? Circle the word exists and put the correct one in the box that is provided. Let us continue with line 3. Many different races exist in peace. The diverse people all unite for celebrate. The diverse people all unite for celebrate. Something sounds very strange there, doesn't it? Yeah? How well do you know your prepositions? They unite for celebrate. They unite on celebrate. What do we unite to do? We may unite for celebration, but we have to unite to celebrate. So, choose your prepositions wisely, and we said this before, we cannot say it enough. Learn your list of prepositions by heart, know which go with which nouns, all right? Let's go on. So we circle for and we put the correct preposition in the box, which is to. So diverse people all unite to celebrate various festivals and holidays annual. Tourists are. Let's look at it in isolation. The diverse people all unite to celebrate. To celebrate what? Various festivals and holidays annual. They are celebrating it every year. How? That should read annual. We are looking for an adverb. The adverb would end with ly. Yeah, how do we celebrate? Or rather, when? We need an adverb to modify the verb, and it must end in ly. So, annual becomes an adverb when we add ly, and it's spelled annually, annually, right? So various festivals and holidays annually. So we circle our word annual, and we write annually in the box provided. Let's go to our next line. Tourists are amazed by the spectacular display of colors and. Tourists are amazed by the spectacular display of colors and. Let's look at it in isolation. Are is the helping verb from the previous line. And what do you notice about the word, the verb amaze? Tourists are. We need the past participle, yes, yes. So we need to add D, right? So we need to amazed it, amazed. Yeah, tourists are amazed by the spectacular display of colors and creative showcased. So we circle the word amaze and we write what the correct form of the verb should be, amazed. Let's continue. It's the last line, and I know that you're tired. So let's see how we can finish it, and you will know what's correct. Creative showcase during the carnival celebrations. Remember, you can read before and after to figure out what you think is missing. Display of colors and creative showcase during the carnival celebration. Colors is a noun, so creative is supposed to be a noun, but creative there is not used as a noun, is it? What word should it be? Color and creative showcase during the carnival celebrations. Have you figured out the form of the noun and what it should be? Yes. We have the noun color, so we need another noun to say two things that are showcased during the carnival celebration. Is creative showcased? How do we turn creative into a noun? What do we add? What is the word? Creativity, yes. So we take off the E and we add ITY and it becomes creativity. Color and creativity showcased during the carnival celebrations. So you have other words like positive, positivity, negative, negativity, and these how we form these nouns by adding ity. We drop the e and we add ity. Let's look at our sentences now, our lines in isolation, and ensure that we've circled everything. In each line you have something circled and you have the correct thing in the box provided. Our country is one of the more beautiful places. It's supposed to be most beautiful places. We circle more and we write in most. The Caribbean, where many different races exist, we circle exists and we write the correct thing. In peace, the diverse people all unite to celebrate, so you circle for and write to. Various festivals and holidays annually, tourists are. Annual is circled, annually is written correctly in the box. Amazed by the spectacular display of colors, amazed is circled, amazed is written in the box provided, and creativity showcased during the carnival celebrations. Creative is circled, creativity is written. So there you have it. Our section 3 is over and you understand clearly what you have to do. Thank you so much for looking on, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next session, learning language arts through TTT.